I think he should be in the G League. He's not ready to play in the NBA right now.
And it's expected he will spend.
And he should be in the G League because he's not ready to play in the NBA first and foremost. But secondly, there's going to be some guys coming for his head, and he's not ready.
The likelihood of your son being able to be what you were is not likely.
The bottom line to all of this, right now, he is not an NBA level player.
The conversation around nepotism is only around athletics and politics. If this was a blue collar job, if LeBron James was your plumber and he walked in with that boy and they was both there to get the turd out your toilet, you wouldn't be asking whether or not Bronny is qualified. If anything, it gives you more comfort when you hear something called such and sons. You go, oh, I like it. That's all that family ever does.
Look at all the turds.
You can't just have one little trick to help sell tickets. Because you're telling me people ain't gonna come see the father-son show?
What if the turd is still in the toilet when they leave?
That is a very good point that I have not thought about.
I mean, I take it as a move as I don't really think the Lakers are serious anymore. You know, I love everything that it stands for. I think, you know, what Bron is doing with his legacy and just, you know, as a businessman and everything that comes with it, I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's really, really dope. But as far as the Lakers actually competing, I don't know. I take that as a sign as they aren't really serious.
If he were not LeBron James' son, he damn sure would not have been drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers. If he were not LeBron James' son, he would not be in this position.
When he finally decides to retire, LeBron James will go down at least as one of the top 5 players in NBA history. With 4 NBA championships, 4 MVP awards, and an eye-popping 20 All-Star nods, King James has revolutionized the game of basketball ever since he was drafted by the Cavs in 2003. But how does firstborn son Bronny stack up compared to the old man? Did the rookie inherit LeBron's skills? Or did he just get a free ride to the league? And what do current and former NBA players think of him right now? Stay tuned and find out. Bronny was born on October 6, 2004 to LeBron and Savannah James, and from the get-go, his parents put him on the path to continue the family legacy on the hardwood. While Bronny did inherit some of his father's athletic abilities, LeBron also made sure his son was focused solely on basketball. Contact sports like football and hockey were obviously off the table, but King James poured everything he had into his son's path. Before long, Bronny started turning heads as a 10-year-old kid. While his dad was still in Miami, Bronny showed flashes of what could make him great in the future. Just take a look at some of his moves here. From driving to the basket, just like his dad, to snapping ankles with nasty crossovers, to dishing silky, smooth assists, all signs pointed to Bronny one day taking the league by storm. From that point on, Bronny played for several other teams, such as the Gulf Coast Blue Chips in Houston, and the North Coast Blue Chips, and the Old Trail School. 2 of his most high-profile teammates were Jet Howard, who now plays for the Orlando Magic, and Mikey Williams, a guard for the UCF Knights. But the real question was, how would Bronny do once things were kicked up a notch? Would he play like his dad did in the early 2000s for St. Vincent St. Mary, or would he flame out? This next stage in Bronny's life would soon be the moment of truth. Let's keep it real. LeBron James is one of a kind, and what he did on the court even as a high school basketball player may never be seen again. Very few players can electrify an entire region like King James did when he played basketball for SVSM's Fighting Irish. But Junior has his sets of skills too, and he showed them off not once but twice against none other than Dad's alma mater.
Freshman Bronny and Sierra Canyon are here to face his dad's alma mater, St. Vincent St. Mary.
Bronny and his Sierra Canyon teammates played SVSM twice, once in 2019 and again in 2021. But in both games, Sierra Canyon prevailed and Bronny played a huge role. Whether he was dishing the teammates for the score or pulling his best Steph Curry impression and making it rain, Bronny turned heads. Don't believe me? Check out this highlight reel of him during the 2021 game. When Bronny's senior year at Sierra Canyon rolled around, he stepped up and became the team's leader. Ohio State, USC, and Oregon all eyeballing him as their top prospect, the crown jewel of their recruiting class. Bronny needed to play like it, and he did. Despite dealing with numerous injuries and illnesses, Bronny still averaged over 14 points per game and led Sierra Canyon to a 23-11 record. Not only that, but he was also selected to play in the McDonald's All-American game, as well as to Team USA for the Nike Hoop Summit.
He's got a legitimate three-point shot.
Omaha Baloo feeds Bronny James, who drills it from deep. And he loves there you go with Dad courtside.
Bronny wowed the crowd with his range at the McDonald's All-American game, splashing home 5 threes, tying the record for the most in the event's history. And at the Nike Hoop Summit, he was a jack of all trades. He scored 11 points, snagged 4 rebounds, and added a steal and a block.
Bronny James on the break. And
Not only that, he added a pair of go-ahead free throws to seal a 90-84 win for Team USA. No child should ever be forced to live in the shadow of a famous parent, but few people realize just how hard it is for them to carve out a legacy of their own. By this time, though, Bronny James had been great as a kid on traveling teams, and now he was one of the top recruits in the country. And even though his name no doubt helped him gain recognition, his unique playing style only served to sweeten the deal for whoever snatched him up. By this point in his life, there was another big question looming on the horizon. Who would he play college basketball for? Duke and Kentucky reportedly recruited Bronny as early as 2016 when he was 12 years old. But by the time he blazed his own path, Ohio State, USC, and Oregon were in his top 3, and he was squarely in their sights. Ohio State used a tactic with Bronny that worked on his dad, the home factor. Even though LeBron is a current Laker, as King James always says, he's just a kid from Akron, Ohio. And going home to Northeast Ohio helped LeBron write the greatest happy ending in sports history as he helped the Cavs win the NBA championship in 2016. The Buckeyes pulled out all the stops to try to get Bronny to wear the scarlet and gray. They tugged on his heartstrings. For Oregon, though, there was only one word: Nike. Phil Knight not only created one of the biggest sports brands of all time, but he became a master at branding. If Bronny wanted to play basketball for a winner and grow his brand while doing it, Oregon was the place to go. As for USC, on the surface it was a head-scratcher. From a basketball standpoint, the Trojans are not a blue blood program. They've never won a national championship, and their last trip to the Final Four was in 1954. If Bronny wanted to play winning basketball in SoCal, USC's rival UCLA would actually be a better choice. The Bruins are a historically elite program built by the legendary John Wooden, and their current offensive system thrives with guards who have Bronny's skill set. But as crazy as it sounds, Bronny might have been drawn to USC because he wouldn't be the big man on campus. At the time Bronny would be there, the biggest celebrity on campus would be Heisman Trophy winner Caleb Williams. Bronny would be able to blend into the background and avoid major pressure. Not only that, but Bronny would also be able to focus on improving his game in relative peace and quiet. At the time Bronny was being recruited, USC was hit by an admissions scandal where the kids of several celebrities were admitted to the school on scholarships thanks to bribes. But Bronny would not have to worry about that. He earned his basketball scholarship on merit and hard work. And with that, the decision was settled. Bronny would put on the cardinal and gold as a Trojan.
Corner should have looked opposite wing on that one.
Even though Bronny had wowed people with his basketball skills in junior high and high school, things wouldn't be so rosy for him at SC. In fact, shortly after he committed to play for the Trojans, Bronny and his entire family went through what can only be described as a pure nightmare. On July 24, 2023, during practice, Bronny collapsed on the court and was rushed to the hospital, where he was monitored carefully for the next several days.
Bronny James collapsed here at the Galen Center during basketball practice Monday morning. His medical emergency has not only shaken his family, it's underscored a risk facing young athletes.
But thankfully, he recovered and came out of it. He was released on June 27th and was able to begin his recovery. But even though Bronny fully recovered, it seemed like whatever momentum he had for his growing basketball career disappeared. In the final 25 games of the season for USC, to say Bronny's numbers were underwhelming would be an understatement. Over that stretch, he averaged 4.8 points, 3 rebounds, and only 2 assists per game. While he was once seen as a 4-star recruit coming to USC and a potential first-round pick, this drop-off knocked Bronny down to the late second round. Some mock drafts didn't even have him being taken at all. At this point, some could have advised Bronny to stay in school for one more year and polish his skills so he could climb back up the draft board. After all, it was clear that he wasn't NBA ready at that point. His numbers were mediocre to bad, and he was still recovering from a potentially life-threatening health incident. But whether it was from his own desire to play in the league or for his father's desire to play with him in the pros, Bronny declared for the 2024 NBA Draft.
With the 55th pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, the Los Angeles Lakers select Bronny James from the University of Southern California.
This is where things get interesting. The reaction to Bronny being drafted by the Lake Show sparked a range of reactions. Some saw it as a great opportunity for father and son to possibly play together. Anyone remember what the Griffeys did in baseball? Others called out Bronny as a prime example of given, not earned. Fox Sports radio host Ben Maller wasn't shy about his take on the whole situation. He didn't pull any punches. Just listen to his take here.
Bronny James is the personification of, hey, my father's famous, so I'm famous. The trickle down of that. He is averaging less than 6 points a game, shooting less than 47% from the floor, and less than 30% from three-point range for a sub-500 University of Southern California Trojans basketball team. And yet, there's this debate about where he's going to be drafted. He's a bit player on a dog food team. That's Bronny James. That's Bronny James. And so, again, LeBron going on and on talking about earned, not given. So explain exactly how a player averaging less than 6 points a game, not shooting the ball well on a bad college basketball team, is being even considered for the second round of the NBA draft. There's two reasons for that. LeBron James, that's the reason right there.
Big player on a dog food team? That's what he thought of Bronny at USC? Ouch. But is he wrong? At least one person thinks so. Stephen A. Smith was very upset at how some people reacted to Bronny being drafted by the Lakers in June, and he didn't hold back either.
But the one thing I don't want to hear a damn thing about is nepotism. My friend, my partner, Adrian Wojnarowski on NBA Countdown spoke about it yesterday and saying he didn't want to hear it either because we both know, covering the NBA for years, executives, owners, coaches, nepotism has been going on in the National Basketball Association for ages. Nobody said anything about it before. We damn sure don't want to hear about it now.
Stephen A. might have a point. Nepotism does happen. It's all over the place, and it happens in all walks of life. But if you didn't watch this episode of his show, here's what he said earlier.
You heard about his athleticism. You heard about his defensive prowess. You heard about the potential that he may have. We're not blind, however. We recognize the fact that if he were not LeBron James' son, in all likelihood, he would not have even been drafted. If he were not LeBron James' son, he damn sure would not have been drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers. If he were not LeBron James' son, he would not be in this position. So we can't be oblivious or turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to the fact that the opportunity that he received is an opportunity practically no one gets a chance at.
Hold on, wait a minute. Stephen A. may be one of the most respected people in sports, but the man literally contradicted himself right there. He called Bronny's shot with the Lakers nepotism, but we're not allowed to talk about it? Sorry, Stephen A., that's not how it works. Knock it off with the double standards and hypocrisy. Telling the truth isn't hating, no matter how much you want to spin it like that. Bronny still does have a chance to succeed, but he has to make major adjustments to step up his game if he wants to be respected in the league. At this point in his basketball journey, many see Bronny as riding on the tail of his dad's legacy. And some loud voices are both for and against Bronny being in the league, like Kwame Brown.
I see a kid just coasting because he has a guaranteed contract. Anybody else in that position would be cut. Somebody going underneath, if you ain't a knockdown shooter, you got to put pressure on the defense on that big in order to get that floater off. And if you don't do that, what we doing? And everybody act like you can't critique this kid's game. He's a professional athlete now. I can critique his game without bashing him, and that's the holes that I see in his game. He don't run for layups. He plays like he's an older veteran. He's young. He needs to be running for layups, sticking his head up under that rim. He needs to penetrate the defense, be a threat. If a guy is being doubled off of you, if a guy is dribbling at you, he needs to be a backdoor cut and let a guy feel behind. He's not a very good shooter yet.
And many other prominent players and talking heads have chimed in as well.
Bronny should stay in college. Because if it's about Bronny, right now he is not up there to be no top pick, which means his name is not going to be called.
The likelihood of your son being able to be what you were is not likely.
The bottom line to all of this, right now he is not an NBA level player.
But in spite of all the debate surrounding Bronny, history was still made recently. In the 78-year history of the NBA, there have been several father-son combos to both play in the NBA. Rick and John Barry, Rick and Jalen Brunson, Jelly Bean Bryant and Kobe Bryant, Del Curry and Steph Curry. The list goes on and on. But none of them have ever been on the floor together at the same time. That is until October 6th, Bronny's 20th birthday. LeBron and Bronny both shared the floor in a Lakers preseason game against the Phoenix Suns. How you see this depends on which side of the debate you find yourself on. For many, it's a remarkable thing, especially when you consider how well LeBron James is still playing. He'll be 40 years old in December. He's still playing at such a high level that any team with him on the roster has to be considered at least a contender for the NBA championship. The fact that he's still going strong and able to play with his son in an NBA game is a testament to his longevity. He's taken extremely good care of himself over 2 decades. But unfortunately for LeBron and Bronny, the numbers between father and son during their brief appearance together will make an already vocal group of haters even louder. During that preseason game against Phoenix, LeBron scored 19 points, snagged 5 rebounds, and dished 4 assists in 16 minutes. Bronny? He finished the game with a grand total of 0 points on 0 for 1 shooting and snagged a pair of rebounds in 13 minutes of action. While father and son sharing the court was no doubt a special moment for the James family, the stats between the two might make the moment feel forced. While very few players will ever come close to having the talent LeBron James has, so far, Bronny looks like he's in danger of falling into the same sentence as Jeff and Marcus Jordan. Michael Jordan's 2 sons did give it their all as basketball players, but neither of them came anywhere close to being a solid NBA player, let alone challenging their dad's legacy. Bronny's still extremely young. He just turned 20 years old. But unless he kicks it up several notches, his NBA legacy will be a brief one, and it won't be seen as anything other than a pick by the Lakers to please his father. But something happened in Bronny's latest preseason game that might be a small glimmer of hope. He might just turn things around after all. Ever since the medical scare at USC, Bronny James hasn't panned out, neither in college nor during his short time in the pros. But during the Lakers' preseason finale, Bronny had one of his best recent games and his best as a pro. In an October 19th game against the Warriors, the Lakers unfortunately got blown out. But Bronny had a solid game, going 7 for 17 shooting for 17 points, 4 rebounds, 3 steals, and a block in 35 minutes of action. During the game, Bronny scored on a layup less than a minute after tip-off and also hit a 28-foot buzzer beater from the top of the arc. For him, it was all about playing on instinct and using the tools he knows he has.
Just gave me a chance to be myself. I feel like that's, where I'm the most comfortable, just going out there and playing my game. A great feeling to go out there and not think as much as I do and just play.
Bronny knows he likely won't make the Lakers' season-opening roster, but he's trying to take every positive he can and run with it. What do you think of Bronny James? Is he only in the league because of his last name? And will he pan out or flame out? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, smash the like and subscribe button and check out our latest videos like this one. From all of us here at Shooter's Touch, thanks for watching.